Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Whole Package by Premier Packaging. I'm your host, Billy Watkins, and today we are joined by our Corporate Enterprise Director, Joe Cox. Joe,
Hello.
welcome. A old and dear Premier friend of mine, so it's nice to have you back, sir.
Thank you very much, Billy. I appreciate that. Just a quick note there. It was 4 years ago, I believe we did this for the first time.
It's been that long. And how many, you've been on another one since
This
then,
is
right?
my second, so very, very glad to be back. But another note is, Billy, I believe you celebrate 15 years this year. Is that right, coming up?
Yeah, sometime in August, 15 years.
That's
It
awesome.
went by in the blink of an eye.
That's how many I had worked here when I hired you.
It was just like it was yesterday. And you did kind of hire me too, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. And let's get a little bit more business out of the way. This is a little weird for me. It's my first remote podcast. I'm doing this from my home. You're at your home. We were going to do this in the studio, but weather did not permit. We had the blizzard of 2026. So
yeah, regional
here
high.
we are, stuck here doing it remotely. First podcast I've done in slippers. If that means anything to you. So we're talking today about Premier de Mexico.
That's
and
right.
let's start out from the beginning. You know, what inspired Premier to open a branch in Mexico? What was the initial motivation behind expanding into Mexico markets?
I would say this is our 10th year. And so initially, from what I remember, it was mainly, we followed one of our largest e-commerce customers and went down to Mexico, really operating from the U.S., but servicing certain sites within the Mexico City area, and have expanded that, of course, over time. But initially, it was just to follow a customer down, and once we were down there, we were able to expand to other customers and diversify our products down there. So.
Kind of a similar thing as Premier has expanded across the nation, right? We get a foothold.
We've actually done the same coast to coast down there as well. So you're spot on. It's a very similar growth, I guess, path.
Yeah. Can you give us a sense of the team that we have down there? How are our teams structured? What roles do they play in supporting the overall operations?
Yeah, so support began initially with a customer service / purchasing person. And I say that combined because that's what they had to do. That was the role they filled, taking orders, and then also purchasing the products that were delivered. So a lot of it was drop ship business early on. But that led with, like I mentioned a moment ago, with some of the team members in the U.S. also supporting this effort. It led us to actually hiring someone in country. I do remember the fellow. He actually traveled to Louisville for training, and that was years ago.
Yep.
That's kind of my first, I guess, effort at supporting this entity. Outside of from administrative days, I helped build the, ASI version of Mexico that we use for our business system. But we had someone in country, and then that grew from there to a point where we had some sales leadership out of Texas that was traveling there frequently to support our existing customer, as well as to expand, like I said a moment ago, to diversify our customer base. And then I'd say somewhere around 2020, I was talking about this with Bernardo the other day. I think he might have been hired in late 2019, but somewhere around 2020 is where we really started to expand the team, both with sales, additional sales reps, as well as operational support. And so it's really kind of expanded into what we have today. We've added a few over the last couple of years, but if you include Chris Gaynor and myself, we stand with 18 total members that contribute to the Premier de Mexico effort.
Oh, wow. I don't know if I would have guessed it was that high. That's a
I
that's a
know
good
it
sized
kind of
group.
sneaks up on you a little bit. Yeah, we've definitely added on where we needed the support. So I'm very pleased with the team we put together.
So our Mexico HQ headquarters address is listed as Monterrey, but most of our day-to-day operations are out of Mexico City. And forgive me for being an idiot, but give me some give me some perspective of where Monterrey is and Mexico City, and then how does that work out to help achieve our goals geographically?
Yeah, so well, let's start there a little bit about Mexico geography. I wish I could just like show you, but I have a really colorful map right here that helps me stay on top of things. And so more or less we are coast to coast, but Mexico City is centrally located, but more south. So it's if you know Mexico at all, it sort of has a swooping down to the right, geography feel, and so it kind of curls up into what was the part of the Gulf. So on the downswing, we're in Mexico City, which if you're looking up towards the U.S. is really in line with Dallas. So it's on the same line with Dallas, Texas. So Mexico City is essentially south, and then Monterrey is closer to Texas. So it's due northwest a little. So it's just northwest, but it's much closer to Texas. So Monterrey is in play mainly because it's our headquarters, officially because of our business relationship with our financial partner. And so as it goes in Mexico, our entity's affiliation in Mexico requires it that wherever your financial arm is, that's your corporate headquarters. And so that's where, we've aligned with someone that represents us because we have in-country banks and things like that we use down there for that entity. As it were, we have a few members there as well. Few team members, a customer service rep and a salesperson that live in the area trying to develop that part of Mexico. And so we bring the team together a few times a year, Chris and I do. And one of them actually is on the West Coast and lives in a city called Hermosillo. So we try to bring the entire group together 2-3 times a year, but the local team, which is really awesome, they get together on their own once a week just to maintain some collaboration and to stay in touch with one another. And it's really shown dividends through their work effort and the operation as a whole. But sorry, got a little long-winded. The main reason that we have them split is for the financial obligation to that partnership we have in Monterrey.
Gotcha. Business purposes. Mexico City is it's the largest city in North America. An amazing place. I have been fortunate enough to travel there and work there on behalf of Premier and
that's right, years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while, but 2017 or 18, but and couldn't have enjoyed it more just from culturally, the people, just a beautiful place. So being in such a large city, how does that benefit us in terms of our business purposes? And then on the flip side, what kind of challenges does it create as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say, the way it benefits us, and it is large. There's 27 million people. I think that's what it has on Wikipedia.
In the greater,
it feels larger than that, but in the city, it's like, you get different numbers, 9, I've seen 16 and others. It just really depends on what they are considering, the municipalities that are around the immediate city. But
Yep.
if you look at the metro, it's a really large population. 27 million, there's like 130 million in the country. So just put that in perspective, that a large portion is simply in Mexico City. So there's a lot of opportunity. So there's a lot of different customers. There's a very broad base of customers, especially in such a metropolitan type of city. So that's allowed us to, sell to other customers beyond e-com. We've got some in the pharmaceutical. We've got some that we're calling on in the food markets, as well as just some standard repacks, right? So we also sell with other packaging companies and things like that because of our own distribution network that we've been, able to provide and I guess leading that effort with our e-com customer. We've been able to expand across the country, so it gives us an advantage to distribute products to several customers that might be in different regions.
Right. And it sounds like I mean, of course, different country, it's the same world, it's the same kind of customers we've got up here, like you said,
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals, food, all the same type of thing, right?
Yeah, the challenge is, just to also answer that part of it, has been the logistics. There's a lot of people, so there's a lot of people on the road.
Yeah.
And so that becomes, it can become a challenge. We've run into some political, there's a political aspect of Mexico, from worrying about tariffs to worrying about the way that they have their infrastructure supported and things like that. Like we've had road closures.
Right.
We've had an issue where our warehousing was closed. And so that can prevent, our ability to service the customer in a timely fashion. But luckily, the partnerships that we've created have allowed us to still maintain an excellent, delivery score, if you will, with our customers. And we've maintained those relationships well. And so the partners have been great, but it can be tough on logistics and getting orders out in a timely fashion from time to time.
It's a crazy place to be on the road. I do
It
know
is, yeah. We actually had, and I say, just give you an example. We had a road collapse in between our site and one that we have up in one of our 3PLs in Merida. So it caused us to have to go a different route, which was an extra 4 hours.
Wow.
So, yeah. So sometimes, Mother Nature takes care of that. It wasn't anything that was like any sort of someone toying with the roads. Literally, the mountainside collapsed and took the road out, and so it caused us to have to go a different way.
Yeah, some things you just can't. You just got to deal with, right?
That's right.
So, looking at recent results, 2025 was our best year yet in Mexico. What has driven that success?
I would say we reset the organization. We really did, from previous leadership and, our engagement. I'll say Chris Gaynor and I partnering, and Chris lit, I'm sure he's going to have his turn to have his comments on Mexico coming up. But, he lived there for a year, and that just paid dividends.
Right.
It really solidified the commitment in the Mexico team's eyes that Premier was focused on their growth and making Premier de Mexico as good as we possibly could. I mean, in a lot of ways, we just got back to grassroots, right? When I say we reset the organization, it just really, we started to focus on cost control, what we could do from a savings standpoint to improve margins. We did it through some efficiencies that we just looked at changing, as well as kind of ramping up our dual sourcing efforts to, diversify our supplier base so that we could provide a better price to the market, because it's tough. There's a lot of people selling packages down there.
Right.
And so it's a competitive market and it's challenging for our sales team. But once you get the right partnerships in place, it really helped us improve everything overall. And so I believe the team's super committed and they bought in. And so we had a really, really strong year this year.
And I guess to speak to that, we do not have manufacturing capabilities, right? So we have
correct,
to
yeah.
work with partners, and it probably makes it just a little bit more challenging. But that's
luckily some of them are U.S. based, so
Okay.
they have a footprint down there. So a lot of our partnerships that we had coming into Mexico even 10 years ago are still in play. Some have changed. Some of that's been dictated by some of our clients on some of the product lines that they want us to represent, so to speak. But yeah, there's been a really good shot in the arm of support from our suppliers, both in the U.S. that also have their reach down in Mexico. But to that end, we've also developed in-country relationships that are magnificent. So there's quite a few, and even some that we've even went further south that are coming up through South America. So we still have some imports, from the U.S.
Right.
and we still have some that maybe comes in through the West Coast out of China. But in the future, we expect some coming through the South up through South America. So we've got some partnerships down there as well that we've established in 2025.
So Joe, how's your Spanish coming along?
Glad that was a teed up question, but no, it's actually it's okay. I could definitely apply myself a little bit more, but what I would say to that is it's been both challenging and fun to learn a new language. I always kid the team. I'm like, I wish I would have taken Spanish in high school. I was the person that took French, so I was one of the rare group of kids that took French in high school, got talked into it by one of my sisters. And I feel that Spanish would have been much more useful. And of course, now I'm in a position where it would have been. So I've been coming along with it. I've got a book over here that Chris gave me, which has been pretty cool. It's I don't know if it shows up in the blur, but it's called Madrigal's Magic Key to Spanish. So it really breaks it down into bite-sized chunks. But
Have you ever attempted any of the other the things you see on TV and that where you can you learn Spanish on the
I
flight
do.
there?
I've bought a subscription to Babbel. So
Okay.
so I play it on the plane from time to time, but there's nothing like having just real world conversations. So I'm in a ton of meetings, obviously, that are in Spanish. And oftentimes I want them to, it may not be I may not be leading the meeting. So like Bernardo leads the old OR2 meeting every day. And so when he's in those, he conducts it in Spanish. And so I'm hearing things starting to become more familiar just from listening to it a lot. But, I think at the end of the day, as long as you're trying, that's what I think the team is excited about, because they want to teach me, they want to share. And even the partners that I've met down there have asked, how it's coming along. And as long as they see that you're putting the effort in, that's all that really matters. But yeah, I've learned a few things. I learned how to say a few things when I go down there. So each time I go, I tend to have picked up a little bit more, but I could definitely put some more study in.
Well, we know that if we ever have a Premier Paris, we can come to you and you'll be all right.
That's right.
I think
Hopefully I'll conquer Spanish sooner than later.
I took 10 years in school, and it didn't stick with me. And God bless Google Translate,
That's right.
And for the most part, I would imagine what I'm always impressed by in international travels is that everybody else is way more accommodating than we are,
They are.
and most people speak two languages way better
Yeah, there's a couple
butchered this
teammates
one.
down there that are working on their third language.
Right.
So um, it is. They've been super great, very accommodating. There's a couple down there that are like my tour guides. So when I go down there, it's literally explaining, the city because we'll take rides through the city and they'll explain what parts we're in or what happened in history and I've learned a ton about that, which has been amazing. I just recently returned from Mexico, and so I took it upon myself to go down and see the pyramids, which was
Oh yeah.
amazing. So there's several pyramids throughout the country, but
Right.
there's some that are north east of the city, about an hour. And so Bernardo and I drove up and got to see those pyramids, and it was really unique. And it was a great experience, and just to get a further sense of the culture that was built, throughout Mexico because it's got a long history. So
Certainly. Um, so, in this day and age, environmental health and safety, they're more important than ever. Uh, how's our team focusing on these areas, and what standards like STPS are you working to meet? And let me know what STPS is, because
yeah, so I knew you were going to ask me that. So it basically is the version, it's the similar version to OSHA.
OSHA.
So it lines up with OSHA in many ways, but it kind of goes a step further and more like the welfare of the employee. So it dips into a little bit of more HR, like fair pay and things like that. But basically, what's come of it is we are bigger and we needed to make sure that we were protecting our employees and our organization. And so we engaged with a consultant to help us bridge um, or catch up, if you will, to what we needed to have in place for an organization like ours. Because, like OSHA, there's standards across different, markets. So if you're manufacturing boxes, it's one. If you're making medical equipment, it's another. So we had to find our alignment with the STPS version of that. So what it really entails is we have formed what's called a joint commission. And a joint commission is basically an independent team of employees that review the operation objectively for what I just said: fair pay, that there's the hygiene of the employees is good, that the safety of the environment they're working in is meeting the standards. And then along with that, that they identify that the employees are being trained properly on the schedule that has been determined by the organization or the site. And also to identify any um, missed opportunities, like does someone need to be trained, because of something that they see or in their audit. So what happens there is it's done twice a year. We're actually going to launch we did conclude one in the end of 2025. We will start that schedule again in March. So we will have our first joint commission in March, and then there'll be another one in the fall. But really, it's our focus is to just create those standards as a team and basically have a safety team that aligns with the training that needs to be done. Very similar to what we do in the U.S. with Wiser. We've talked about it, maybe trying to find sources that meet the SDPS standards that we could put into Wiser. Obviously, that needs to be done in Spanish because not every team member in Mexico speaks English.
Yep.
But they're all pretty much working on it the same way I'm working on speaking Spanish. But that's where we're at. I mean, it's definitely a year of the safety or STPS alignment for 2026. So we started on it last year, but we will complete it very soon.
What else do you see for the future down there in Mexico? 2026. What's in store for us?
Yeah, so the big projects are the STPS and the rootstock. Obviously, we just discussed those, but we really look to continue to grow our client base down there. Chris has really got the sales team focused on expanding and acquiring new business. So not only expanding our existing, but also focusing on just landing some of the projects that we've been working on that have been, our sourcing leader down there has been helping push, with the sales team. So, you know, if percentage wise, we'd like to grow around 10-15%, but we'll take whatever we can in this market and this time.
Right.
But yeah, it's to continue to grow and perhaps make better use of some of the 3PL sites that we're in, maybe expand in some of those areas as well. We're, like I said, the majority of the employees are out of Mexico City. We do have some sales or a salesperson in Monterey. So just being able to leverage our distribution network a little more is really where we're at.
It sounds exciting. I have no doubt that we will continue to grow, and I'm sure we'll be here to talk about it. Right? That's right. This could be part one, I think, for our efforts in Mexico. I guess finally, have you encountered anything down there that has surprised you? Have you locked in on maybe food that you wouldn't have thought you'd eat, or
yeah. I've been very adventurous, especially with seafood. I guess very much like Louisville, they have, they're not near an ocean necessarily,
right.
like it's an hour or more away, but like they
Yeah.
get all the best seafood, and I think we get that because of how close we are with UPS coming in and such. But the bottom line is, it seems that every time I go down, they're entertained by what I'll venture to eat. So they're always putting something different from their culture in front of me, and it's been great. I've really expanded. I've eaten octopus, which is not something that I would have eaten before, and I had what I guess the ink is something that they put across the rice, and it was delicious. So just to put that in perspective.
That must be a thing. I think maybe one of the first times I had octopus was in Mexico City. Yeah, and you wouldn't think you'd like it, but it's absolutely delicious.
And I think I think what I had this past time was I had steak, but it was off the calf. So it was not the calf like a calf cow, like off the leg, like the part of the calf. So it was very, the way that it was prepared, it was almost like a stew, but the bone was served on the bone, but it was just literally fell off the bone like it was stew meat. So it was unique and it was delicious.
I'm glad to hear you're expanding your horizons down there. Sounds like fun. Joe, thank you very much.
Billy, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you, and thank you very much as well.
My Joe Cox, my premier godfather. Source of inspiration.
I'll take it.
Thank you, sir. And thanks for joining us today, everybody. This has been The Whole Package by Premier Packaging. I'm your host, Billy Watkins. Until next time, adios.
Thank you.
Do you have comments, questions, or ideas about this topic? If so, we'd like to hear from you. Please visit primpack.com/podcast to let us know what you think. Thanks.